Hey everyone, today I'll be explaining the ending, the story, and other elements of the game Martha is Dead. This is just going to be my explanation of what I think happened in the game. Of course, there are many other theories out there and any one of them could be right. It's all up to your interpretation. Just a fair warning that there will be many spoilers ahead and graphic imagery. So with that said, let's get on to what I think is the most likely theory, being that Martha or Julia has DID. DID stands for Dissociative Identity Disorder, which was previously known as multiple personality disorder. It's a severe form of dissociation and is characterized by the presence of two or more distinct identities. DID is caused by many factors, including trauma during early childhood from repetitive physical, sexual, or emotional abuse. Symptoms may include memory loss or amnesia, a sense of being detached from yourself and your emotions, a perception of the people and things around you as distorted or unreal, and a blurred sense of identity. Some evidence that supports this theory is during the puppet show. Only one baby is shown to be born, and in the next scene, it shows that we are playing as Martha. Martha tells her mother that she is hungry, thirsty, sleepy, and needs to use the bathroom, all to which her mother neglects to provide and instead beats Martha with her cane. We see her face crack apart with stitches over her ears and mouth, symbolizing that she has gone deaf and mute on her own accord to avoid any more beatings and upsetting her mother. Due to this trauma, Julia is created as an alter or alternate identity to endure the abuse inflicted by her mother so that Martha doesn't have to be the one to experience it. It turns out that Martha was the core identity, as we were shown playing as her first, and right after the scene where her face breaks apart, only then are we shown both Julia and Martha. In this scene, Julia is shown being the one suffering the abuse instead of Martha. This is why Julia only remembers abuse and has gaps in her memory, because she would have amnesia when Martha would front or take control of the body. When Martha or Julia would front, the other alter wouldn't remember the memories or experiences the other one had. Another piece of evidence that supports this theory is the recording of her mother. Her mother doesn't mention seeing a dead body or her sister at the lake. When her mother finds Julia at the lake, she calls her Martha, which makes sense because she is the core identity. But in that moment, it was Julia who was fronting the body and not Martha. Julia is confused that her mother calls her Martha and is hugging her, because Julia only has memories of her mother being abusive. When Julia accuses her mother of murdering her sister, her mother replies,
"What are you saying? Your sister?"
I interpreted this scene as the mother being confused as to why she is mentioning a sister when she doesn't have one to begin with.
Please, no. I was not well. I didn't know what I was saying.
Her mother was not mentally well at the time, which could contribute to her being abusive towards her.
So many years have passed. You were little then. I thought everyone had forgotten that nonsense.
It's possible that her mother knew that Martha would switch between alters when she was younger. However, years passed and her mother was mentally better. Her mother probably assumed everyone had forgotten about Martha switching between alters, since there wasn't a need for Julia to come out, as Julia only took over the body during times of abuse or trauma. This meant that Martha was fronting the entire span of time that Julia doesn't remember.
I spent almost 3 years with the nanny, but when I came home, I quickly forgot how to be happy. My memories did not return until 15 years later, in 1944, when I stayed in that house.
At the end, she is sitting in front of a mirror and signing as Martha, while answering her questions as Julia. This confirms that they are indeed two separate identities inside one body. Another example of this is when Julia sees the deformed fetus, representing two heads connected to one body. Julia and Martha may have both been in a relationship with Lapo without the other one knowing, as they would have amnesia when the other one fronted. Lapo explains in his letter that he could decipher between the two, meaning that he knew if it was either Martha or Julia who was fronting. Martha was in control of the body when she had sex with Lapo, and knew she was pregnant. Julia wasn't aware of this or the pregnancy. Martha was indeed pregnant, but it was Julia who experienced the body having a miscarriage, as Julia is the one to take over the body during times of trauma. We are shown a nightmare where Martha has her stomach cut open with a bloody baby inside. Then immediately Julia wakes up with blood all over. Martha may have feared the consequences from her mother finding out that she was pregnant. The pregnancy must have triggered Julia to take over the body from this induced fear or trauma. Martha may have went to the lake and tried to commit suicide, and because of that trauma to the body, Julia took over and assumed Martha had died. It's difficult to decipher if any of what Julia is telling us is true. so it's anyone's guess as to what events actually happened. In my opinion, I think a majority of what happened were all just her hallucinations due to taking Pervitin pills, which was actually crystal meth used during World War II. There was a bottle of Pervitin pills in Martha's trinket box. As everything is told in Julia's perspective, I think the hallucinations contributed to what she wanted to see and believe, including the body in the coffin, the images she saw in her photos, talking to the white lady, the funeral, which she said she was late to so she didn't end up going, but I think it's because it never happened. The newspaper, which I think had real events, but just not the ones that were about Julia. And the 2 beds, 2 wardrobes, and 2 trinket boxes, because we never see Julia wake up in her own bed. Also, why is there a separate bedroom for just Julia? The bedroom with the puppet show. This made me question if there was only one bedroom to begin with. On the surface, it appears that the White Lady didn't play a major role in the plot or events that happened. However, I think the story of the White Lady itself played a key role in shaping Julia's mind and influencing the way she saw the world. The White Lady was in so much pain and killed others to alleviate some of that pain. Julia was also in a lot of pain, having to endure and suffer with all the memories and trauma while growing up. The White Lady was meant to represent the dark part of Julia that she didn't want to become. And with that, this brings us to the end of this video. If you have any other ideas or theories, please leave them down below in the comments. Before I end this video, I just want to clear up any misconceptions about people with DID. There is a lot of stigma created from media portrayals of those who have DID, showing that they are violent people who are murderers or superheroes because of their ability to switch to different alters. This is most definitely not the case. Please don't believe those negative stereotypes. People with DID deserve the same compassion and kindness as anyone else. Thank you for watching the video, and please leave a like, comment, or subscribe.